Virgo, you've been underestimated. Someone looked at you and decided you were easy, manageable, someone who'd accept less than you deserve without consequence. And they were wrong, dead wrong. Now they're figuring that out. Let's talk about what happens next. Listen up. There's a shift happening in someone's perception of you, a recalibration, a fundamental adjustment to how they understand who you are and what you're willing to tolerate. And it's not happening because you explained yourself better. It's not happening because you finally made them understand your worth through conversation. It's happening because you demonstrated it through action, through boundary setting, through walking away, through refusing to engage with dynamics that don't serve you. You showed them who you are, and they're finally getting it. Stay with me, because this isn't about someone suddenly seeing your value out of the goodness of their heart. This isn't about them waking up one day and realizing they should treat you better because you deserve better. This is about consequences. This is about them experiencing the natural result of underestimating you. This is about reality, teaching them what your words couldn't. And that lesson, it's landing differently than anything you could have said. Can you feel this shift, this change in how someone's approaching you? Drop a comment if you're already noticing this energy, because here's what I'm tracking in the field around you. Someone who previously felt entitled to your time, your energy, your patience, your understanding. They're realizing that entitlement doesn't hold up when you're not participating in it anymore. Someone who thought they could show up inconsistently, treat you casually, keep you in limbo while they figured out what they wanted. They're discovering that you're not waiting around for them to get their act together. Someone who assumed you'd always be available, always be understanding, always give another chance. They're learning that your grace has limits, and they found them. And this realization, it's creating a specific response. They're coming back, or they're trying to, or they're positioning themselves to, but differently this time, with a different energy, with adjusted expectations and modified behavior. They're coming back correct, or at least they're attempting to. Does this match what you've been sensing? Let me know in the comments, because let me paint you a clearer picture of what's actually happening with this person right now. They tried it. They tested the waters. They operated under the assumption that you were someone who'd accept breadcrumbs, tolerate disrespect, stay available despite being treated as optional. And you didn't cooperate with that assumption. You didn't argue. You didn't explain. You didn't try to convince them of your value. You just withdrew. You created space. You stopped being accessible. You demonstrated through absence what your presence had been worth. And that absence, it's been educational for them. It's shown them what life looks like without your energy in it, without your support, without your understanding, without whatever role you were playing that they took for granted. And they're not enjoying the education. They're realizing what they had, what they lost, what they failed to appreciate when it was freely given. And that realization is driving behavior change. Not internal transformation necessarily, not deep personal growth, but at minimum, strategic adjustment. They're recognizing that if they want access to you, they need to show up differently than they did before. That the old approach doesn't work anymore. That you're not the same person who tolerated what you used to tolerate. Have you been watching someone recalibrate how they interact with you? Comment below if you're seeing this play out, Because here's what coming back correct actually looks like in practice. It might look like increased effort, them initiating more, them being more consistent, them actually following through on things they say instead of just saying things. It might look like adjusted tone, less entitlement, less assumption, more respect, more acknowledgement that access to you is a privilege, not a right. It might look like actual apologies, not the vague, sorry if I upset you kind, but specific acknowledgement of specific things they handled poorly. It might look like change behavior around the exact issues that caused you to create distance in the first place. Them demonstrating through action that they've registered what didn't work. It might look like them giving you space to set the terms, letting you control the pace, respecting boundaries they would have pushed against before. Basically, it looks like someone who's realized they were playing games with someone who doesn't play, and they're adjusting accordingly because they want something from you that they can't get if you stay withdrawn. But here's what you need to understand. Coming back correct doesn't necessarily mean coming back changed. It means coming back smart enough to adjust the approach, and those are not the same thing. Does this distinction feel important? Drop a comment if this is landing, because I want to talk about what's motivating this shift. Is it genuine regret? Possibly. Some people do genuine internal work and emerge with real understanding of how they showed up poorly. Is it loss aversion? More likely. Humans don't like losing access to resources, and you were providing something they valued even if they didn't value it properly. Is it ego? Very possibly. Some people can't handle the idea that someone they underestimated is thriving without them, can't handle not being chosen, can't handle someone else controlling the dynamic. Is it strategic calculation? Often. They've assessed the situation and determined that if they want what you provide, they need to show up differently to get it. The motivation matters less than you might think. What matters is whether the behavior change is sustainable and whether it's enough for you. Because even if someone's coming back correct, even if they're demonstrating improved behavior, even if they're showing you respect they didn't show before, you still get to decide if you want to re-engage. You still get to assess whether this is someone you want in your life. You still get to honor that sometimes the damage done during the period of disrespect is too significant to overcome with adjusted behavior. Have you been clear with yourself about what you actually want with this person? Let me know in the comments, because here's what I'm sensing about your position in all this. You're not the same person they underestimated. You're not the same person who accepted less. You're not the same person who made yourself smaller to accommodate their inability to see you clearly. You've evolved through this experience. You've developed sharper boundaries. You've built stronger self-respect. You've learned what you will and won't tolerate. And that evolution, it means even if they come back correct, even if they show up better, you're assessing them from a different standard than you had before. You're not just looking at whether they're better than they were. You're looking at whether they meet the standards of where you are now. And those standards, they're higher as they should be, because you've learned what happens when you tolerate disrespect. You've learned what it costs to stay accessible to people who don't honor that access. You've learned that your peace matters more than maintaining connection with people who disturb it. And from that learning, you've established new baselines, new requirements, new non-negotiables. So when this person comes back correct when they attempt re-entry with adjusted behavior, you're not evaluating them against who they were. You're evaluating them against who you need someone to be to have access to you now. Does this feel like where you're at? Comment below if this resonates, because I want to address what might be happening in your head right now. Part of you might be pleased, might feel validated, might be thinking, finally, they're recognizing what they had. Finally, they're showing me respect. And that's natural. That's human. That's the part of you that wanted to be seen and valued and treated properly. But I need you to be careful with that part, because vindication feels good, but it's not the same as wisdom. Wisdom asks, is this person capable of sustaining this corrected behavior? Or is this just adjustment under pressure that will revert once they feel secure again? Wisdom asks, am I considering re-engaging because they've actually changed, or because their improved behavior is activating my hope that they could be who I wanted them to be? Wisdom asks, what am I actually wanting from reconnection? And is this person capable of providing that, or am I setting myself up for disappointment? These questions matter. These questions protect you from making choices from your wound instead of your wisdom. So yes, notice that they're coming back correct. Yes, observe the behavior change. Yes, acknowledge that they're finally showing respect, but don't let that observation override your discernment. Don't let improved behavior erase the memory of how they showed up before. Don't let their adjustment convince you that all is forgiven without proper assessment of whether this is real or strategic. Have you been maintaining your discernment or getting swept up in the shift? Let me know in the comments. Because here's what else I'm picking up on. This person coming back correct, it's creating options for you. And options are good. Options mean you get to choose instead of just accepting what's offered. You can choose to let them back in, cautiously, with clear boundaries, with eyes wide open. Testing whether this corrected behavior is sustainable or temporary. You can choose to acknowledge the shift, but maintain your distance. Appreciate that they learned something without feeling obligated to give them another chance to demonstrate it with you. You can choose to use this as confirmation that your boundaries work, that your standards matter, that walking away from disrespect was the right move, and keep moving forward without them. All valid, all reasonable, all within your rights. The key is making the choice consciously, not from reaction, not from old patterns, not from the part of you that's just relieved they're finally acting right, but from the grounded part that knows what you need, what you deserve, what actually serves your life moving forward, which option feels most aligned for you. Drop a comment and let me know, because I want to talk about what happens if you do choose to re-engage, if you let this person back in, if you give them access again, if you decide their corrected behavior warrants another chance. It needs to be on your terms, with your boundaries, at your pace, not them setting the terms because they've decided they want you back. Not you rushing to meet them because you're grateful they're finally showing respect, but you, from your power, determining what re-engagement looks like. That might mean starting slow, proving consistency over time before deepening trust, watching to see if the corrected behavior holds when it's tested. That might mean clear communication about what's different now. what you need that you didn't require before, what won't be tolerated anymore. That might mean consequences for regression. Clear understanding that if old patterns resurface, you're gone. No explanation, no second chance, because here's the thing, people can come back correct and still revert once they feel comfortable. People can adjust behavior strategically and still carry the same internal orientation that created the disrespect originally. So you protect yourself by maintaining standards even after letting someone back in, by continuing to monitor whether behavior matches words, by staying willing to create distance again if needed. You don't owe anyone the benefit of doubt that they already squandered. They earn trust back through sustained demonstration, not through temporary adjustment. Does this feel like the right approach? Let me know in the comments, because here's what I really want you to hear. The fact that they're coming back correct, that's about you. That's about the boundaries you set. That's about the standards you maintained. That's about the self-respect you demonstrated. You taught them how to treat you, not through words, but through consequences, through showing them what happens when they don't honor your value. And they learned, maybe reluctantly, maybe only because they had to, but they learned, and that's your power showing up. That's evidence that you're not someone to play with, that you mean what you say, that your boundaries aren't negotiable. So whether you choose to let them back in or not, whether you give them another chance or keep it moving, recognize what this shift represents. Recognize that you created this change through your choices. Recognize that you're not the person who accepts disrespect anymore. You're someone who sets